Have you ever received a phishing email and asked yourself what's going to happen if you click on that link? In most cases, those emails are going to include links that are going to redirect you to a certain website, or they are going to directly include files that you can download. So by clicking on the link, you're either going to download an executable or maybe get to a website where then you're going to be prompted to download that same executable. For most part, this is not so dangerous because most antiviruses and computers that are up to date are going to detect this, or even most browsers are going to give you a hint when trying to download certain files. So you will get suspicious, and in most cases you won't download it. Some people will click on it and download it still, but in most cases your browser and your antivirus are going to protect you from those files. Since there is a constant competition between good and bad, there is a constant try to exploit certain bugs and errors in software and operating systems. So there is always something new that can be exploited, or always a new glitch which your antivirus is not going to recognize. There are of course a lot of different options and possibilities. For example, when screen sharing, team viewing, there is also the possibility of reversing that connection and getting hold of the PC that was initiating the screen sharing. So there are a lot of different exploits. If you want to learn how those exploits work and protect yourself, this is the right video for you. Please use this video only for educational purposes and to protect yourself, or if you want to learn more about IT security or software engineering in general, this video is going to help you to increase your skills. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, there are different steps that we need to go through in order to facilitate such an attack. First of all, we need a Commander and Conquer server, which is mostly shortened with C2, Commander and Conquer. So this is going to be our controlling server, which is going to facilitate the attacks, and our victim machines are going to connect to this server. I have also prepared a virtual machine running Windows 10, which is going to be our host that gets infected. We are going to run an executable. Since our operating system is Windows, we are going to create a payload for Windows. We are going to run an executable on our Windows VM. So this is going to be an exe file since it's on Windows. The first step is we need somehow to manage to inject our file into the operating system of the victim. So the way how we would do that is either by sending an email with a downloadable file, or maybe redirecting our user to a website where he's going to download the malware, or maybe directly inputting that file onto the operating system. Or another very interesting approach would be, let's say that this victim is communicating with us over screen sharing, over some screen sharing application like Teams, and the user is sharing his screen. Or it could be also vice versa, we could be sharing our screen. In that case, under certain circumstances, it is possible to reverse that connection and use a technique to copy-paste our script into the victim's machine. One way how that would be possible is by using the clipboard, but a lot of softwares have caught up to that, and for example this is not possible to do in MS Teams, but it is possible to do in some other screen sharing applications. In MS Teams there are also a few other exploits that could be misused as of June 2021, but I'm going to link down the references to those articles down below in the description. The next part, after we have generated our payload and delivered our payload to the victim's machine, is to run it. We can also generate such a payload that is going to run by itself, or in certain cases we would need for the desktop to restart in order to run it in the startup programs. Another crucial step that we do in between is we need to obfuscate the code. So our packet is going to include certain instructions, certain code that is going to run on our victim's machine. This could be in Python, it could be in C++, it could be a shell script, and so on. But since, for example, Python, in order to run Python, there needs to be a Python interpreter installed onto the victim's machine. So this could be a problem in certain cases. So it is always a good approach to write those scripts in shell. Another problem is that we need to obfuscate it. So this means we need to transform our code into a cryptic payload. I have prepared a Python script here that does exactly that. In this case, we are going to obfuscate our real code with the public key here, which with the use of the write key can be again decompressed and be read as code. So we are using here base64 to decode our entire program, which we can again decode with the write key. And in this case, it is impossible to see what the code actually delivers. As mentioned, in this case, I have prepared two servers. So let us go over those. First of all, I have prepared a normal Windows server running on AWS. I have opened Task Manager. I have installed Git and just a browser. So nothing special, just a plain simple Windows server. On the other hand, I have prepared our Commander and Conquer server. In this case, we are going to use Metasploit, and I'm going to show you exactly how you can generate such a payload for a certain operating system. And I have also just prepared the link here. So what you can do is just go to the dedicated address and download the file from there. So I'm not going to send it over email or something like that, but in the case that we would really want to target someone, we would try to make it believable, send it in an email, maybe try to misspell the domain name, and so on. But this is a completely different topic. So what you need to do is download Metasploit. So it's basically pretty easy if you are on Windows, Linux, or Mac. Basically, you just have to curl the program, download it, and run it. So I'm not going to do that here since it's pretty straightforward. If you encounter any problems, please post them in the comments below. After you have done that, just navigate to the root folder where your installation is. And now we need to generate a payload. So I have prepared a script here in order to generate a payload. So we are going to use the CLI command, which is part of the Metasploit program. We are going to generate a reverse TCP interpreter. So this is going to be our payload, and you can specify what types of payloads you want to generate. It could be anything from a Jira plugin to a reverse TCP connection where we want to maybe access the screen of our victim. Now we need to specify our Commander and Conquer server IP and port, and we need to specify our format, which is going to be an exe file, and we also need to specify a name. So I'm going to just call it Windows vector.x. As you can see, we have generated our payload and it was only 354 bytes. So the next part is actually hosting this payload, which I am doing in a different console here on port 5000. And for example, if we now go to our victim's machine, we should be able to see exactly that address. And this is the address it's being hosted at. And this is exactly the file that we have generated here, Windows vector.x. I'm just using npm serve here, so you can install npm on your Command and Conquer server and run serve, or any other approach to serve static files. The next step is to open our console, so let us do that. We need to wait a few seconds for everything to initialize. And now we can start using our packages. So the first part is going to be to pick a certain exploit. As you can see, there are 2,157 exploits currently, with Metasploit, and this number is always growing as there are new errors and bugs detected in certain operating systems, codes, and so on and so forth. So we are going to use that one. So now we have switched to the exploit multi-handler module. Now what we need to do is to set the payload, and we have already specified which payload we want to have, and this is the payload. So now we are generating our exploit using this module here. Now we can set certain things, like for example the port. We definitely need to set the port. As you can remember, when we have created our first exploit, those are the data that we have set from the beginning. So we are going to set the L port and L host, and now we can run the exploit. In order to do that, just type exploit, and great. We started a reverse TCP handler, and we are waiting on this connection here. The next part which we need to do is to somehow download this file. So now we are on our victim's machine, and let's say our victim clicked on an email, went to a suspicious website, or in any way got this file here. We of course would name it differently, or we could also include this file while downloading a movie, for example. Now the file is downloaded here, and we need to run it. In this case, the file is configured to run on a PC startup, but I'm going to run it manually here. As you can see, Windows is going to detect this one, but we have to click on run anyway. There are certain ways to avoid this. For example, it depends on the operating system the victim is using. For Windows 10, there are certain exploits to avoid that problem, which I'm not going to show in this video. But if this is something you're interested in, please let me know down below in the comments, because this would be a whole new entire video for itself. Let us go back to our Commander and Conquer server. And as you can see, we have one session open now. So basically our victim is not suspecting anything, but we are connected to his PC. In order to show you that, we're going to run a command. Let's say dir, and we're going to see exactly the files that our victim here has. So we are in his PC. We can also run the command help to see what we can do. One thing that is always useful is to do get system, and this is going to try to elevate us to a higher level. So now if you do system UID, sorry, I typed the wrong command here, get UID, we are going to see which access we have. And basically we have the NT authority system, which means that we are on an administrative level now. And please keep in mind, this is a standard Windows 10 server where I haven't configured anything special. So an interesting way to show you how dangerous this is for example running this simple command. We just want to kill a process, and we can kill any process. And as you can see, there is Notepad open on the victim system. I'm just going to run this command and close Notepad down. So basically I have full control over the victim's PC. I can take screenshots, record his screen live. I can also run the camera, but in this case there is no camera configured on this system, so it's going to throw out an error. But as you can see, this can become really, really dangerous, and just one unsuspiciously looking email could install something like this payload onto your PC. So I hope you found this video useful, and please use this only for educational purposes and to protect yourself better. So this is quite a new topic on this channel. If this is something that interests you, which you would like to learn more about, either for your career or just to stay safe on the internet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments so that I can create more content like it. So thank you so much for watching, take care, and see you in the next one.